Well, good afternoon, everyone. How you guys doing? So I'm finally working towards finishing off this tunnel and then doing the mountain. And so like back here, and this is a piece of foam here that's not in. So this is all glued in, but this needs to get up higher. It needs to actually, so I cut this piece here. It's going to go in here. What's going to happen is I have the profile that's going to be back of the mountain is a 1/2 inch, and so what I want to do is make sure it's got a nice square thing here. So I'm going to get it up to about the level of this. I also cut out some foam pieces for the tunnel portals. This one looks kind of goofy, but the track actually kind of goes over a little bit more towards this edge. So as you can see, it does fit. Plaster casting tunnel portals. They're not painted yet, but they're wooden style. So they have a little different of, they're not rounded. They're more of a kind of squared off. But these will fit. So I did measure these out. And what I did is I cut it so that they would be, so you wouldn't see the foam. I'm ready to glue these in. I have few of them here, 2 pieces, and then this piece, and I have these other pieces here, and then I also have these support pieces to put in. So I didn't have too many sheets of foam left that were this larger size. So what I decided to do is to cut it so it was a little taller and a little bit bigger than it needed to be. But as you can see, I got the piece sort of boxed in there. None of this is actually glued on right now. This is all pinned in place, and I'm really excited to finally get towards this. Like I said, there is going to be a road on part of this sort of plateau, or I don't know, I've called it a ridge. It's not really a ridge, but the top of this part of the mountain, there's going to be a little road that comes right here. But the rest of it is all going to be sloping down, contouring into there. I have this piece here. I'm not exactly sure I'm going to use that there, but it's there if I want to use it. Because I am going to have that waterfall kind of come in here, and what I kind of want to do, I want to make it kind of, I don't want the waterfall necessarily just to drop. I kind of want it to go down some rapids here. Kind of want to make it slope, and that's sort of why I have that there. And I'm going to put mostly paper wads on this. I do have a little cutout here, and like I said, this is not the actual height. I'm going to be cutting a contour into it. It's going to have like different kind of stuff. Where the water is going to be like right roughly in here. That's going to probably be down to about this level. This is all going to be pretty low over here, but there are going to be some higher peaks up on this side. But I still have to ballast just inside, like right here, and then the same over on this little area back here. And I still have to kind of paint inside here. And then where this little cutout is, if you do look inside, like let me just put it back in where, let's kind of hold it there. You can see that, but I do have the piece that I cut out for it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of trim a little bit so it can kind of go in and out of there. So we can block that off. I only really need to have access to there if a train derails in the tunnel. So I have to add some plaster cloth to the back edge of this, just so I can add some paint to it. Yeah, this in here, I need to add plaster cloth. I have a little bit left of my original row. I still have one more row. I end up getting 2 rolls really cheap. I think I got $7 for 2 pretty big rolls of plaster cloth, and I'm still on my first one. RockFoil. It's a bendable rock material. So I got this stuff on sale. I got like pretty cheap. And I was thinking, you know what, that looks pretty cool. I'm gonna try using it around some of my areas because I can bend it and cut it out, and I'm gonna try to use that a little bit too, along with the painted rocks I made in some of these areas, like over here where there is a bend. This might actually work a little bit better than using just plaster casted rocks. I have some other areas where where I'm gonna have bends over there. So I picked this stuff up. It was relatively cheap. It was on sale. You can kind of see that it bends. They suggest using hot glue, low temp glue. So this is somewhat of the pictures. I figured I'd try it out. I made a pattern of the size of my little ledge there, just to see what's the space I have over there. And it's a Lego sheet and a half of the actual dimensions. So I cut out a whole chunk of it because there's quite a bit of this material, but I cut out this RockFoil stuff to fit in this space. I was thinking of just I could just use this without even using the plaster casting rocks. If you look at it, how it bends and how it fits that formation, it looks pretty good. Obviously, I would paint it more of a red rock color than the gray that it is. But yeah, it looks like I could, if I wanted to, just use this material. I don't know how this is going to work because I've never used it before. So this is the back of that painted up. It's pretty dark. Like I said, you're not really going to see it. That's why I'm not going to focus too heavy on it. I think it looks fine for what it is. Obviously, you know, you're only going to see it if you look inside the tunnel portal. So that's done. This has now been glued in for over 24 hours and it seems to be staying. I only had one section pop off right here at this corner. And I'll figure out something for that. I'm gonna do the plaster road all the way up and through here, and I put these things in for the crossing over here, some pieces to get the road up to the crossing level, and I have some really neat ideas on doing that. And then over here, you probably can't see it from this angle, but I do that road that comes here. I have an idea of what I kind of want to put some foam. I'm going to glue some foam to this top area just to make a small sort of, I would say about 3/4 of an inch tall, almost wall next to part of this road where I'm going to be using, I want to use a brick, that flexi brick I have to make somewhat of a wall. But then it will make it so that I think these contours of the paper wads coming off of the top of this mountain, which are going to be paper wads at the top, and there's going to be some going on to this part of the mountain over here where the road is going to be. It'll just make it look a lot better. So I plan on doing that and working on these road sections and working on this road section and painting up. I hopefully paint up the rock area, but it's not a big deal if I don't paint up the rock area right now and I just leave it that gray color. What I might do is do the other rock area I want to do with this same flexi-rock that I have here. I really like the result that this stuff gave out, that I think I'm just going to use the rest of that for this other turn on the other side. These are going to be the oil tanks here. They're not sitting on the little stands I have, but I got them all glued together and just kind of have them sitting there to kind of dry fit them. This is the little pump house, and then next to it is part, not the whole thing, but part of the fuel tanker car thingamajig. I don't know what the heck they call it. Probably, the thing is, I don't have a tanker car, so I right now have this box car in here. It's just as a height thing, because there's some other parts, and I'm not sure if you can see them here, but there are other parts here for that need to be glued on, and I need to know the actual height and angle so that cars can come in here for the coal and for the fuel and not actually bump into that. I got that parts of those things done, but I still definitely got more work to do with them. And then the rest of this stuff is for the fuel truck loading bay. Now, I had some problems with these pieces from this Walthers kit. These two pieces are actually cracked. The plastic cracked, so I had to actually glue them together. So like this one here was really a problem. See where the A-frame part is? That cracked in half, and I had to glue that back together. So, you know, a model that's been should have took maybe no more than a day has taken several days because I had to glue these little pieces that cracked apart. And I've never seen styrene pieces crack apart that easily, but these ones did. I'm not sure if this is going to work because this particular loading rack thing is supposed to be attached to a base. The thing is, the base is way bigger than the space I have. So what I'm kind of doing is I'm kind of kit bashing it and kind of taking it and redesigning it for my purpose. I'm not exactly sure it's going to work for my application, so I might have to take out my 3D printer and some CAD software and build my own loading rack. I really don't want to do that. The final part of a 3D printed part needs a lot of finishing work to get it to look halfway decent as a injected molded part. There's a lot of sanding, a lot of model filler, and it's several weeks worth of work just to get it to look good. So it's taken a little longer than I want. Everything on this layout has taken a lot longer than I wanted. I have a lot of painting to do of all those pieces, including the coal bunker there. I finally got most of the parts of the silo painted, and I got a slight weathering on there. I did somewhat of a gray and black wash to make it kind of look like it's dirty and whatnot, but I could go a bit darker and a bit more on that. But I'm definitely liking so far the direction of the pump house and the fuel loading thing for the tanker cars that will be there. Like I said, so I have to glue, paint together a lot more stuff.